Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Thursday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It's Thursday, you know that what that means. That means we got our college football analyst and Heisman Trophy voter, Brent Beaird, going to join us here in just a second on the Titan More Hotline. If you missed it yesterday, early game for the Gators due to weather out in Missouri. Find a way to win. 66-65 over the Missouri Tigers. Anytime you can win a conference game on the road, especially when time change, weather, just a lot of issues going on. It's good. It's a good day. So congratulations to them. Hopefully they can continue building on that. They are in the tournament as of today. So we shall see. But let's go ahead and head on over to the Titan More Hotline. And we're joined by Brent Beaird, who I'm sure was following all the recruiting news of yesterday. Good morning, Brent. How are you?
Shane, I'm doing well. Good to be on with you. The reality is we've really made the switch, haven't we, Shane? It seemed like the real national signing day is in December. In the one yesterday, I'm not going to say it was anticlimactic because there were still a lot of schools that did well and helped themselves, but we don't have the buzz now in February that we do, frankly, in December. And again, quickly to say this, I'm going to be very curious to see what we do. Do we stay with this early signing time another year, or do we move it up to August or September? Or do we just eliminate the one in December and go back to the one in February? So not sure where that goes. It's always fun to follow it, but I think something will probably be done within the next year or so to ease some of the pressure that causes coaches a lot of strain in December.
Yeah, it's I don't know what the right thing to do is. I know they want to get it over with and get these kids, the early enrollees, in on campus. But yeah, you do miss the days, the excitement in the high school gym with people really not knowing where the kid's going to go and all the little antics that they put on the little show. I thought sometimes it was kind of funny. But also, we had Natasha, who used to work in the football office back when Coach Spurrier was around, that whole crew. She was talking about, how excited the staff and coaches would get when they'd hear the beep from the fax machine coming through back in the day. So, it's totally different now. But and Dan just brought up a really good point here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Metal Law. It's too short of a window when there's a coaching change. And there's always going to be coaching changes in college football, whether it's your school or some other school. Their coaches are going to get fired and some are going to leave. But yeah, it's crazy. John says here on Facebook Live, Jimbo had an epic rant yesterday. Yeah, I was going to bring that up. And if you missed it, folks, Google it, do it on Twitter or whatever. But Jimbo goes off for about 3.5 minutes at his presser, basically calling out Lane Kiffin and Nick Saban is the way I took it. So it was very interesting. What did you think about that, Brent?
Well, and number one, let's be clear that A&M had the number one recruiting class of anybody. I mean, in the rival stats, they had 29 total signees. They had 5 5-stars and 20 4-stars. That's amazing. Frankly, now the 24/7 has got them as the highest rated class ever, and with all the analytics that they do, the Jimbo rant was not just on the coaches, but it was on some of the publications and podcasts that are accusing them of basically buying players with a better NIL deal than anyone else. Look, I don't have any doubt that their coaches work hard. There's no question about that. But this is what I will say about that too. Jeremy Crabtree, who is one of the better recruiting analysts, has a. This is before signing day, but it was like Tuesday. What he's got here is he's got Texas A&M number one. They had 6 5-stars. They had 24 stars. Their average NIL was $65,000. Alabama's average, and that's in our notes that we share, Shane. Alabama's average for the NIL was $41,000. Georgia's was 28. Like Missouri was 20. Kentucky 21. Clemson was 32. Auburn 30. Now I won't go into all this, but that still from a recruiting writer who has a lot of respect, those are the numbers that he had with the average. Now, average NIL for A&M, $65,000.
And correct me if I'm wrong. That's $65,000. That's the average of the 25 kids that they signed in the class.
Yeah. Yes. That's my understanding too. Yes.
Classes have to dig into dollar figures and figure it out.
It's a different day, isn't it, Shane?
Did it have a Florida average salary on there?
No, no, it did not. It just went to, or at least in his, it did not. Now, Mississippi State is 22, and its average NIL was 14,000.
Well, it's interesting. It's something that obviously is part of recruiting these days, and
it is.
It's crazy. But if you missed Jimbo's rant, it was pretty good. I liked it regardless. All right, Brent. Spring football is right around the corner, believe it or not. And I know in Gainesville, people are going to be really excited having a spring game once again, and in Billy Napier's first year. But they've announced the dates of a few schools here in the state of Florida.
Yeah, Florida State's April the 9th. Florida's April the 16th, as is Central Florida. The good thing about this is Florida and Florida State are on separate days. And this is like Alabama and Auburn or other schools of that ilk. Why do you? I don't know why schools don't get together and decide to have them on separate days. What you do is when you have them on the same day, you force the media to choose. So you don't get you get about half the coverage you normally would. So to me, that's the good thing about having on separate days. Look, I thought Florida should have had a spring game last year. I think that's one thing that fans really enjoy, and that you get, and it gives a chance to kind of whet your appetite for the coming year. But yes, very excited that they are having the spring games this year.
Yep, no question. The portal continues to be a big topic around the country. I could not believe how many kids have entered the transfer portal since when? Back in August. It's a ton.
Yes. Yeah. And again, this is Division I and lower division scholarship and walk-ons. So that's going to be a lot of players anyway. But that is 3,298. That's really unbelievable when you think about that. Frankly, now 60.4% of the scholarship Power 5 players who've entered the transfer portal since August 1 have committed or signed to new schools. 40% of the scholarship and the non-Power 5 have entered the portal since August 1. Shane, the most important thing I want to say about the transfer portal is this, and this is something that really hadn't been talked about very much, but this is very important as far as parameters. and I give Chris Hummer credit for that. Something important to watch with the intra-conference SEC transfers, and this was, I believe, Tuesday actually, was the deadline to enter the portal. If you want to play for another SEC school in 2022, also in the article it says that it was pointed out to Chris Hummer that the SEC changed that rule last June. The NCAA cutoff is May 1. So we haven't heard a whole lot about that. And Shane and I have talked about this over the last several weeks, that there really need to be more of a strict kind of parameters of this. But that's something I guess we can at least go by, is that the time is up now if you want to transfer within the conference. And then as far as the NCAA cutoff is May 1. So we will watch that, but at least we got some dates to go by.
Yeah. Again, I don't know why it can't be the same throughout the entire country, but I'm sure it will eventually. But it's crazy stuff. Okay, so I know a lot of people have a bunch of Facebook Lives here. Cliff says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Menlo, heard FSU is in the top 5 in getting players from the portal. Where does Florida rank? I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about that in a minute. But somebody also talked about, had Lane Kiffin hired any coordinators? I think he hired Charlie Weiss Jr. as his offense coordinator. Because if people aren't aware, Lane did a good job in the portal. He got Jackson Dart. He got that big-time running back from TCU. But Ole Miss lost more. Ole Miss had more go into the transfer portal as did anybody in the country. And he's looking for 3 new coaches. My buddy Terrell Buckley resigned as the DB coach. So I don't know what's going on up in Oxford.
Well, they've had a lot of the transfer merry-go-round there. As Shane mentioned, Jackson Dart is probably the biggest thing that happened. You knew he'd get a quarterback, and he did. People thought he might get JT Daniels, who, by the way, is still in the portal.
Yeah, I mean, he was a Heisman Trophy winner, and he can't even find a place to go play. That's what I'm telling you. I don't think he's that good of a player.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are looking at that, and I think that's part of the reason that nothing has happened. Some other quick things for Ole Miss: Malik Heath, this is almost amusing here. The Mississippi State wide receiver is transferred to Ole Miss. He's 6'3", 220. He's a good player, but by the way, Georgia Tech defensive lineman Jared Ivey is also transferring to Ole Miss. But yes, as Shane said, the offensive coordinator is Charlie Weiss Jr., not senior, junior. So because Jeff Lebby has gone to Oklahoma. So just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, it was funny. I saw a tweet the other day, Brent. I'm going to pull it up here. I thought it was hilarious. I can't remember who tweeted. I just screenshot it. And and basically the tweet said, to recap the 3-team trade, USC gets head coach Lincoln Riley and quarterback Caleb Williams. Oklahoma gets offensive coordinator Jeff Lebby. And Ole Miss gets QB Jackson Dart and tight end Michael Trigg, because they were USC players. I thought that was pretty dang funny, though.
Yeah, Trigg is a really good player too. He's 6'4", 245, and he'll be a favorite target, I'm sure, of Dart. It's a great quarterback name, isn't it, Shane? Dart, D-A-R-T. But look, again, Lane will have a very good football team, so he's going to restock through the portal, and that's kind of what he's done.
Chris asked here, Brand, on Facebook Live, brought to you by Menlo Law. Do you know if anyone is going after David Cutcliffe as an assistant coach or QB coach just to get Arch Manning?
Well, they're going to do a lot of things to get Arch Manning. I would agree. No, not at this point. Nothing, unless it's happened the other day. That's something we would have seen on Twitter, and that hasn't happened. Cutcliffe is saying that he's retired. Now, look, David did a really good job at Duke. I think he's a really good football coach. I'm curious if you really know him, but he's a good quarterback coach, obviously. But I think David wanted a break, wanted to retire. Doesn't mean that he won't get back in some capacity, right, Shane? But at least at this point, I haven't heard anything new on him.
No, not at all. At Chris Doring Mortgage, I do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Talking college ball with Brent Beaird on the Titan More hotline. Back to Arch Manning. Sean asked, how good is he? He's way more athletic than both his uncles. Way more athletic.
Yes.
Probably good. I mean, as of right now, if you watch him, he's a better thrower than both of them, like a natural thrower. We don't know, but like I told you, I think there's 4 schools in the mix, and I think it's one of these 4. I think it's Alabama, Georgia, Texas, and Clemson. I think he'll be at one of those schools. I don't think Ole Miss is in the picture. They will say it's in the picture just to keep the fan base not burning down the Manning house in Louisiana. Right. But I think he's going to end up at one of those places.
Well, I can tell you, I can say this. There are some not so good feelings about when Lane went to Tennessee and left them for Southern Cal. Now, here's your comparison on Arch, and people need to Google this when they get some time. Who he favors is his grandfather. Archie, when he played at Ole Miss, was one of the most incredible football players you could ever see. Now, people, Archie was, and I'm not backing down on this. Archie was as good or better than Johnny Manziel as far as his ability to scramble and to get out of trouble when the rush was coming. So suffice to say, for our listeners, Google Archie Manning sometimes. I know you may get some grainy film back then when he played in the late 60s and 70s, but Shane, that's who he reminds me of. And man, if you can play anything like his grandfather, he'll have a great career.
Yeah, Chris says Arch's dad, Cooper, was a wide receiver, so there is some athleticism there. Yeah, Cooper was a really good athlete, had a neck injury, couldn't play at Ole Miss.
Yes.
If everyone missed it, we talked about it, I believe, yesterday. Caleb Williams, the OU quarterback, is now back with Lincoln Riley out in L.A., not a surprise to me. The weirdest thing to me through all this stuff, doesn't even involve college recruiting, is the whole Jim Harbaugh deal. Goes and interviews for the Minnesota Vikings the day of National Signing Day. And he's going back to Michigan, but that made absolutely no sense to me.
No, and I agree with that. 2 things on what you just said. One, there's probably a lot of defensive coordinators in the SEC who are glad they don't have to deal with Caleb Williams. And I think that came down to an NIL deal, and they had to get all the numbers right with that one. But Shane, I agree with you totally on Harbaugh. I mean, if you're, and I know they're all elated on Twitter about him coming back, but I mean, if you're a Michigan fan and your coach on signing day, when you need to be with your coaches and you need to be on campus, I mean, I guess they had it all done and they were happy with that, but I'm with you. I thought that was extremely strange that happened, but yes, the people haven't heard he is coming back to Michigan. I mean, he's got the most leverage he's ever had right now after beating Ohio State and going to the playoffs. But at the same time, I guess my question to you is, Shane, if you're a Michigan fan, are you really elated that he came back after pulling one of that?
No, not at all. I don't quite understand it at all. Chris asked, will USC lose a game next year? I haven't looked at their schedule, but I think as long as Lincoln Riley is there, they're going to be in the mix in the 14 playoff, because the Pac-12 is so bad. I don't know how great their line of scrimmages are, but I don't know how good you got to be in the Pac-12 to win that conference.
Let me just say real quick, you hit it. That's the problem. Williams is really good, and he'll win some games because it's just pure 7-on-7 football. But see, when they come against the Utahs of the world, that's when they're going to have problems because they're not going to be able to block them.
Very true. All right, Brent. We've had a lot of people ask here that may have not seen it. The rankings of the 24/7 composite after yesterday. The rankings of the SEC. You want to run those down for us?
Yeah. A&M is 1, Bama is 2, Georgia's 3. What does that tell you about the conference? LSU is number 12, Kentucky is 13, Missouri is 14. What's the pattern here? Tennessee is 16, Auburn is 18, Florida is 19. I'll comment on that in a minute. Ole Miss is 23, South Carolina is 26, Mississippi State's 27, Arkansas is 28, and my goodness, even Vanderbilt's 31. It's amazing how the SEC is dominated. I will say this: I thought what Billy Napier did in going from the 70s to 19 was nothing short of a miracle. Frankly, in the job that his staff did along that line was very impressive, and frankly, Miami and Mario Cristobal did a good job. They were in the 70s and ended up doing well too. So that's your list of the 24/7 composite. And gee, I wonder what conference dominated, Shane.
Yeah, it's definitely the premier conference, no question about it. All right, let's run through the league here. Alabama, obviously, tremendous recruiting class. They're losing some kids. They're also looking for some coaches.
Yeah, and they have Doug Marrone, the offensive line coach, who was here at Jacksonville, has left. He's going to the NFL. Eric Wolford from Kentucky, and their offensive line coach last year is really good. So that was a big pickup for Nick Saban. Now, what is interesting is Bill O'Brien, the offensive coordinator, is still in Alabama. There are a lot of rumors about him going to the NFL. Saban said yesterday in his press conference, well, we think he likes it here, and he may be staying here. So there's some doubt right now about what's going to happen. So we will leave that up in the air right now. Bama did get one signee from Louisiana, Danny Lewis. Now, here's the funny thing about this, Shane, is Brian Kelly put out this video of Kelly dancing with a prospect, and that prospect was Danny Lewis, who ended up in Alabama.
Yeah.
So think about that a minute. But yes, it was another big signing day for Alabama and Nick Saban, and as Shane said, still some work to do with the staff. Sal Sunseri, one of their better defensive coach, may be going to a more of an analyst off the field situations. We'll watch and see where that goes.
Yeah, I got a text on the Titan MR text line. It comes from Ryan. He says, "Good morning, Shane. Coach Walton mentioned yesterday that SEC softball should dominate Monday nights with multiple series on display, and I couldn't agree more. I'm a baseball nut and follow Gator baseball closely, so this may sound strange, but I almost prefer to just listen to Cardozo and crew than watch the game. But when it comes to softball, that is the most action-packed, must-watch TV.
It is.
And the SEC is
I
just
agree with
next
that.
level. No question.
It's a great sport. It really is. And by the way, I think Bama's picked first and Florida's second, if I remember that right, in the preseason polls. And I tell you what, I listen to Gator baseball as often as I can. With Jeff, to me, is maybe the best baseball guy there is. The job that he does, and Steve Russell does a good job of that too.
Yep, and he finished his text saying, speaking of a next level, Jimbo Fisher is a next level clown. Can't believe that sleazy, wormy, fast-talking moron is worth like $100 million just because he's a decent coach. Appreciate the text, Ryan. Dan laughed at your on Facebook Live. I think he laughed at your comment about Vandy. He says Vandy is turning in the right direction, like a little smiley, laughing face.
Yeah.
If you're worried about rankings, I'm pretty sure the teams ranked under Vandy could beat Vandy.
Well, the amazing thing is, too, I agree with that. The amazing thing is, even in rivals, Vandy's 33. So I mean, Shane, you think about that. I mean, frankly, that's not bad, is it? Hey,
it really isn't.
Vandy's 30 in rivals. Vandy's 33. Miami's 34.
Oh wow, I like that. Yeah, that's cool. All right, let's talk about the Auburn Tigers. There's a lot of crap going on over there.
Yes, there is. Their offensive coordinator, Austin Davis, was there for a cup of coffee, and then he decided that he would resign to spend more time with his family. So they're looking for another offensive coordinator. Marquise Robinson, the defensive tackle, is in the transfer portal. One of the Auburn beat writers had this tweet: Brian Harsin has 6 wins at Auburn and has had 5 coordinators.
It's rough.
Well, they're really struggling. It's just not working right now, and it's just going to take time to fix it. I mean, they can't fire him now. I mean, they could, but they can't fire him now. It's just too early. But they've had double-digit defensive linemen leave the program.
Sean wants you to say one more. Repeat yourself here, Brent. He says, "Tell Brent to say that again. What a good job Billy did it was very impressive with the short period of time his staff had." I guess because there are people out there complaining. I thought he did a miracle with what he had.
Look, I've been in the recruiting business since the early '90s, and to me, what he did was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. I mean, people need to understand, Florida was in the 70s, and they were going absolutely nowhere. And they ended up, in 24/7, they were 19, and and then you've got rivals, they're 24. So look, people may get tired of hearing this, but I'm a real Napier fan. I think what he's going to do at Florida is going to be amazing. And this is kind of where it starts. But as Shane has said, and people have got to understand this, you've got to be patient. There's only so much you can do in the short period of time he's been there. Shane, next year's class will be infinitely better than this year's class.
Oh, there's no question. I mean, I think it's remarkable what he and his staff. I mean, they were only here like 50 days, and I don't think people realize how bad it was. And he's got everything going in the right direction. Okay, speaking of the Gators, everybody knows that the FSU game is going to be played on Black Friday. I don't believe that's ever happened. This is an ACC network deal going on, right, Brent?
Yes. That's basically where this came from. Obviously, the game is in Tallahassee. Look, I've heard a lot of the pluses and the minuses like you have. My thing with that is, look, it's unusual. Just go ahead and plan for it ahead of time. Just accept it and enjoy it. It'll go back to Saturday next year. But listen, here's my take on this. You've got a first-year coach, and basically Florida State's almost in the same situation. I know Norvell's been there longer, but both these programs need the publicity. Now, if this was Steve Spurrier or Bobby Bowden, no, you're not going to do that. But you look for everything you can to promote your program. And if you're a Gator fan, I know you may not like it, but that's the best way to look at it. To me, to me, that's the most exciting game on that Friday night. And I can guarantee you there'll be a lot of people watching that game.
Absolutely. We got a text on the Titan MR text line. It comes from Jimmy. Jimmy asked, Brent, being from Jacksonville, we just signed the Bulls kid, Jack Pyburn. What do you think of him as a player?
He's a tremendous. He's going to be a tremendous player. there are a lot of things about. Listen, anytime you get a kid from the bowl school, to me, getting a kid from the bowl school is like getting someone from one of these football factories in South Florida. Frankly, so I think you'll be very happy with what you've got. It's going to take a little bit of time to get him going. I know he's a 3-star, and people, look down on that a little bit, but don't worry about that. Help me, Shane. He's got a good frame. He's 6'3", 265. He had 29 offers. He came down to Florida, Miami, and Auburn. He visited Florida over the weekend. They extended an offer. 36th best edge defender in the class. So I thought he was a good. He's going to be a good fit. Look, this is important. When you get kids from winning programs, I think that's vital. Bose knows how to win. They're deep in the playoffs every year. And I've known the coaches there over the years. The coach they've got now was at Clay High. He was in St. Johns County for a while. He knows what he's doing. So I think he'll be a smart kid. He'll be a good student. He's going to be a good football player.
Yeah, you bring up some good points. He comes from a winning program, as you said, and he's disciplined.
Yes,
because they don't put up with that stuff at bowls.
No.
And that's a lot. And he's going to play hard. I've talked many times. Talent is great, but if you ain't playing hard and you ain't disciplined, that talent is thrown out the window. So Brandon says on Facebook Live, Jack reminds him of J.J. Watt. He's going to be dangerous with his hand in the dirt. Kid has a high motor. And so I think that's a good, and I think he wants to be a Gator too. I think that was his lifelong dream. Right. So definitely a good pick up there. Let's talk real quick about the Georgia Bulldogs. Looks like they're trying to sign Kirby to a new deal.
Oh, yeah. You can imagine after you win a national championship, there's a raise and extension in order. So that will get done. I'll be interested to see what that is. Mike Bobo comes back to the staff as an offensive analyst. I thought that was interesting, too. Bear Alexander, one of their freshman defensive linemen, will miss the spring because of a torn labrum. Brian McClendon, I know you remember him, Shane. He was a former Georgia receiver. He's going to be the new receivers coach, so he's coming back to his alma mater. So a little bit of Georgia news there.
Yeah, it's crazy. Kirby's got a ton of former players on his staff when you think about it. You got McClendon, got Bobo coming back, got Muschamp there himself. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's some other ones that I'm leaving off, but they got it rolling, no question. One of my favorite names in all of sports is returning to Kentucky.
Kavassia Smoke is coming back. Really good running back. Very dangerous, 5'9", 201. But look, Chris Rodriguez, they're going to have a really good running game, a good offense, as they did last year. Liam Cohen, their offensive coordinator, did a great job. I don't have to tell you this, Shane. This Kentucky, they're not perfect, but this Kentucky team is dangerous, and if you don't take them seriously, you can walk out there with an L, too.
That's so true. Question or comment on here on Facebook Live. David asked, Kerwin Bell said he's getting some interest from players to go play at Western Carolina from the state of Florida out of the portal. Do you know if there are any former UF players? I talked to Kerwin yesterday. They're big and they're heavy recruiting down, and he's always been a big South Florida guy for speed. Sure. And I don't know if any specific Gators will play for him, but he'll have a ton of kids from the state of Florida on his roster for sure. John says McClendon left the Miami OC job to go to Georgia. All right, let's talk about LSU. They got a big signing yesterday. Harold Perkins, who decommitted a couple of weeks ago from A&M. It was between us and the Gators. The Gators, LSU, and A&M. He goes there. Brian Kelly's a strange bird, Brent, but it seems like he's doing a pretty good job.
He does. Well, the thing for Kelly is and he'll get over this after a few months, is he's trying to be cool. And at some point, just be who you are. I mean, for crying out loud, I say this all the time. If you broke Newt Rockney's record at Notre Dame, I don't think you don't have to be dancing, okay? But people would get it. He's going to do a good job there. He's a good coach. He knows how to recruit, which is very evident. Now, they were very involved in the transfer portal. They signed 15 high school signees, number 12 ranking, and they had 12 guys in the transfer portal, which means they are in the top 5. So there's no doubt it's a good class for them. As always, they've got incredible talent. Former Oklahoma State senior defensive back Jarek Bernard Converse has committed to LSU too. So, and as Shane mentioned, Harold Perkins, the 5-star linebacker, decommitted from A&M. He's at LSU. Florida was involved with that too. And look, give Napier credit for this without sounding like a broken record, because I can tell you, people were saying, well, he lost this guy and lost this guy. Well, let me tell you something. Florida went in on some of those guys before he got there. Shane, it means something just to be involved when before you were not going to be, right?
Yeah, there's no question about that. That's the great thing with Billy. He's opened up the doors. We're going to be in the hunt for the top dogs around the country from this point on. Brent, before we let you go, I want to ask you a question. I've said many times, I think, and you did too, that Billy, what he and his staff did in a short period of time was incredible. But after I look at these rankings and hear people talk, it seems to me that the school that did the best, or maybe the most surprising, I should use, are the Missouri Tigers. I just can't understand how they recruited so well to Columbia, Missouri.
Well, listen, Eli Drinkworth, their coach, is a different cat. But what that means is he really resonates with these recruits. They are 17 and rivals. They got 1 5-star and 6 4-stars, but they're becoming a pretty dangerous team. If he stays there for a while, they could be a force to be reckoned with. No, I think that's an astute observation to have Missouri playing that. They had a decent season, and I think they're just going to get better. But that's where this is coming from. Drinkwith is people need to Google a little bit and study on him somewhat. He's a little bit of a different guy. He's kind of your mad scientist type, frankly, but he's done a really good job there, and he is a really good recruiter.
Yeah. All right. Before we let you go, you mentioned a few minutes ago that Vanderbilt ranks ahead of the Miami Hurricanes in recruiting. Where did Florida State rank?
Florida State is 20. Okay. So look, to me, if you can ever get a top 20, 25 class, you've done a good job. By the way, Florida was 24. 25 was Shane Beamer in South Carolina. They did a pretty good job there too. 26 was Arkansas. 27 Ole Miss.
Yeah. All right. Got a few nuggets before we let you get out of here.
Yeah. Actually, we could spend the rest of the day on that. South Carolina. Speaking of them, they've got a transfer coming in from Columbia. Dante Miller is going to be transferring there to South Carolina. Former Georgia running back Lavasi Carroll is going to be transferring to South Carolina. Tennessee has got Jason Jenkins, a pretty good defensive lineman. We've talked about A&M in their class and how they did. Also, but the and look, we touched on it. Mario Cristobal did a good job. Also, and one thing I did want to mention, people may have missed this. Kevin Steele, the Kevin Steele who's at Auburn, is the new defensive coordinator at Miami. Mm-hmm. He was going to to go with Maryland. Somehow that changed, and then he ended up at Miami. So, look, people say what they want to about Kevin Steele, who, by the way, some of the Auburn power brokers wanted Kevin Steele badly as their head coach at Auburn instead of Brian Harsin. Kevin Steele, Shane, as you know, is a good defensive coordinator.
He is. He went up there with Loxley, had a cup of coffee, and said, "I'm out of here. I'm going to Miami." So, Brent, great stuff as always. Getting closer now. Everybody's got their rosters pretty much set. We'll talk a lot of ball from here till spring, because spring football for the Gators should be very, very exciting.
Absolutely. Shane, always enjoy it, my friend.
Take care, Brent. That's Brent Beaird. Join us on the Titan MRO hotline. Going to take a timeout, come back, get to a bunch of y'all's comments and questions. I want to get your thoughts on the basketball game yesterday. Big win for the Gators. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Wrap Spot, Okido America, Gators Dockside, Style Cuts, Big Mills Cheesesteaks. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
This is Steve Spurrier, and you're invited to hang out with me at the biggest watch party of the year.
You heard the head ball coach. You're invited to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill Sunday, February 13th for the biggest game of the year as Cincinnati takes on Los Angeles, and Spurrier's will be celebrating the game all day. The fun kicks off at 5:30 with the Coach Spurrier meet and greet, and football watch party begins. Then watch the big game at 6:40 p.m. But hurry, spots are limited. Make your reservations now at Spurriers.com. That's Spurriers.com.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. At Celebration Point, that's where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Nike, Regal Cinemas, Le Macaron, Dave & Buster's, Medici's, Palmetto Moon, and the HBC's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, now serving brunch on Saturday and Sundays. We'll see you at Celebration Point where the Gators go to celebrate. Speaking of Coach Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, Super Bowl Sunday, he's doing a meet and greet there. He'll take pictures, sign autographs, kiss your babies. Whatever you want the head ball coach to do, he will be there on Super Bowl Sunday. So go check him out. Got a lot of Facebook Lives here I'd like to get to. Brought to you by Meldon Law. Dan says, Lane fouled out late in the basketball game, too. Great to see the team fight back these last two games. Yeah, hadn't been pretty, but they're winning. Andy says, Shane, do you plan on attending the Orange and Blue game? Let's get the Pot Up group together for a viewing party at the Swamp on April 16th. I'll give that some thought to our folks. I got to probably do radio is the only problem. I assume we do radio for a spring game. They ain't letting me know that yet, but we'll see. Got a text here on the Titan MR text line. It comes from John. John says, Shane, what are your thoughts on the orange blazer that Billy Napier wore at his press conference? I didn't have a problem with it. Something different. What do you guys think? Did y'all like Billy's? It was kind of a Tennessee orangish, kind of that creamsicle or whatever it's called. But I don't have a problem with it. I thought it was kind of cool, actually. Anybody have any problems with it? John says, I don't like being so dependent on three. We're not a great shooting team. I get it with our bigs out. I mean, that's basically what we got to do. I mean, you got to spread the court. penetrate, dish out, and hopefully knock down some threes. No, we are not a great shooting team. But shoot, we're finding ways to win right now. I'm not sure when Castleton is planning to get back. Joseph says, Shane, we need a picture and autograph session for us loyal listeners. I'll take care of y'all. Don't worry about that. Muddy says, I thought it was a Hall of Fame jacket, maybe for the old Buccaneers Hall of Fame. But yeah, it was something different and good for him. So now we're headed into the all-season program. I'm curious if, we can. I was going to say there's still going to be kids in the portal. They'll be checking out. So we could sign some more. Who knows? If you got joint pain in your shoulders, knees, hip, or back, they won't go away. You need to check out QC Connects for long-lasting relief. No surgery, drugs, or downtime. Schedule your free consultation at QC Connects, 352-400-4550. Again, I want to thank Brent Beaird for joining us on the Titan MR hotline. Hope you guys enjoyed Tim Walton yesterday. I'm a huge softball fan. And if any of our listeners have never watched Gator softball, or if you've ever been to a game, you need to go. By far, the second best sport. Now, some people say gymnastics. I agree. Outdoor sport. Let's say the second best outdoor sport is girls softball. Text on the Titan MR text line. Doesn't tell me who it comes from. Well, that's an old one. Oh, sorry about that. That was a different text. Andy says Appleby was 10 for 10 from the free throw line. He sealed the deal. He did. Those are huge, huge free throws that he knocked down there. John says he's been to OKC twice, both championships. I've been twice as well, John. I went my first time. We've lost both times I've gone in the championship series. I went the first time we played Washington, and Danielle Laurie was the pitcher for the Huskies. We lost to them in the championship series. And the other time I went, we lost to Arizona State. So I haven't been back. Tim's like, don't go back. But it's fun. That's a great, great experience for that. Rick says, so when are you going to give softball tickets in a drawing? Well, we'll do that, Rick. That's a great idea. Softball starts, they're on the road next Friday. They play in a tournament down at South Florida, and then they host a couple of tournaments here before they get into conference play. Eric says softball and baseball teams are awesome. Check them both out. Yeah. I just wish we could get a little more atmosphere at our baseball games. I don't know why we can't have an atmosphere like we do at softball. Maybe now this is year 2 of the new stadium. It's not going to be like 40% capacity or whatever it was last year. Maybe that will be different. So we shall see. Let's see, a couple more Facebook Lives here. There's one that I wanted to get to, and I can't find it now. Anyway, we'll get back to it in just a second. Hey, folks, Wrap Spot is opening its second location in the heart of Gainesville at 1931 North Main Street. Wrap Spot has teamed up with the crew at Vibrant Vinyl Works to offer color change wraps, advertising wraps, custom striping, hood wraps, and wall wraps. Go give them a call. Okay, we got a text here. This is from William. William says, who do you think is the most attractive current football player for NIL deals? That's a great question. I think Anthony Richardson has a few because he's a local kid. He's a quarterback. But guys that are starters, I don't think we really have one right now. That's why you got to perform, and then things will happen for you. So we'll see. I don't know if, like I said, if I had a restaurant or something like that, and I wanted to put somebody's name on a billboard or whatever, or a picture, I'm not sure who I would choose. I don't know if I'd choose anyone at this moment. Eric says he agrees. Softball need goal national championship future. I don't know what that means. I have no idea. I think he typed it in wrong. John says Caleb Williams. Well, yeah, Caleb Williams is a proven commodity, but no, he's talking about for the Florida Gators. So that's a tremendous question. I'm asking you guys, who would y'all do? If you had a business and you wanted to throw $100,000 at one of the Gator football players, who would it be? Or is it no one right now? I say no one right now. But that's just me. All right, let's take our second timeout, come back, wrap up this Thursday edition.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avera and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Are you tired of being sidelined by nagging pain? Hi, I'm Emmett Smith, Hall of Famer and Dance with the Stars champion. Happy to tell you about QC Kinetics and their biologic therapies for treating pain without drugs or surgery.
Are you suffering from chronic pain in your hips, knees, shoulder, or lower back? Are you tired of living with arthritis pain? QC Kinetics offers natural pain treatment that can repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints.
Listen, I know pain, and I've seen firsthand how powerful biologic therapies can be. Patients at QC Kinetics rave about their result because they're getting their lives back. They're getting moving again.
These exciting regenerative treatments used to be available only to pro athletes like Emmett. Now they're available to anyone thanks to QC Kinetics. Call today for your free consultation.
Get long-lasting results from my friends at QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics 352-400-4550. In North Central Florida, call 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios at South State Bank. We understand that small businesses need a community business partner they can rely on. South State has 4 convenient Alachua County locations. South State Bank, banking forward, member FDIC. This day in sports brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. They're hiring team members with all levels of experience, great culture and benefits, and opportunity for growth. $1,000 signing bonus for qualified positions. Give Comfort Temp a call, 352-376-2366. This day in sports in 2008, out in Glendale, Arizona, the Giants beat the Patriots 17-14. Eli was your MVP, and that's where I believe, the Patriots were undefeated at that time. That's brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Let's see. Facebook Live brought to you by Metal Law. Eric says, based on what you know about them, which QB would be QB1 heading to next season, in your opinion? Ooh. I need to see a couple of practices. I think it's going to be between Anthony and Jack Miller. If they want a thrower, it's Jack Miller. If they want somebody that's going to run the football and make some throws here and there, Richardson would be your guy. But I do know they went and got Jack Miller because they wanted a thrower. So we'll see. I think a lot determines on what happens in spring ball. But that's a good question. I'll answer that later on. Hope you enjoyed today's program. Hopefully we can get Vernon on tomorrow. His schedule's been crazy. Have a great day, folks. Today's show's a wrap, brought to you by Wrap Spot. See you tomorrow.
Trying to get the fans fired up. 2nd down and 10. Matthews rolling to his right, in trouble, can't find anyone. Now he throws it for Harrison Houston, who makes the catch. He's in the open field. Harrison to the 20. They're not going to catch him. Touchdown, Gators.